Hey everybody, welcome back. We're at the 11:30 a.m. turn of the Last Chance for Victory by MMP. Really enjoying the game. For those of you that maybe are just jumping in here late, I am playing solitaire, kinda. I am sending files to a Union and a Confederate commander, and they give me orders. And then I do all the moves and stuff and just update them when they get to do issue orders. So I got me a caramel iced coffee. It's the day after Thanksgiving. Hope everybody had a good Thanksgiving. I don't know why, but Thanksgiving time, I always am in the mood for gaming, especially wargaming. So I was recording earlier and my phone went off. So I stopped recording. So I've already done one thing. So it's the Union or the Confederate turn, and I also had forgotten to rally U.S. stuff and remove the fired, because when I opened the file, all the Union guys were still marked fired. So I don't know why I forgot to do that. And Cutler over here was marked shaken. Well, not Cutler, but the 56 Pennsylvania. And they were not shaken before because they had fired that turn, and even if you get opening volley, you don't make a morale check, and they weren't disordered. So I fixed that. Also, just to reiterate, I found out somebody had given me some input. I thought it was the 00 leaders that you rolled for the 0 rule. It's actually any leader with a 0-1, and Archer had a 0. Now he has a replacement because Archer is, I believe he got killed last turn. So these guys here, they're all where they can be, right? These guys, they all have their orders. I could move these guys up like a hex each, but I'm not going to right now. These guys are maxed out 4 hexes, right? Actually, I probably will move these guys up just a little bit because that extra hex, you never know. Might make or break, but none of these guys can cross Her Ridge Road. I haven't been firing the artillery because the few guys that would be in range or line of sight, this game doesn't really. This isn't a complaint. It doesn't let you fire a bunch of long range, hope to get lucky shots without risking ammo depletion, and it's just not worth it. So, which I think is basically decent. I think it makes you be a little more conservative with your artillery and try to get them and use them on an attack or a defense versus just lobbing shells at anybody that pokes their head out like it's a World War I trench game or something. So that brings us over here where all we have is the Recon and Force still going. I'm going to zoom in a little bit because I've had some requests for that. Where we have Davis and Heath, and now his replacement, Colonel probably so-and-so. They basically still get to do their attack. Now, up here, I'll highlight this, I think. I had rolled for Heath's replacement. We'll just call him Heath for the sake of argument. We'll call it Heath's Brigade. Sorry, I got like an itchy... I should have trimmed up I did this. I had COVID for 15 days. I had a fever and I had fatigue, and I grew this out, and I've been letting it grow out since then because I haven't grown this out since I was like 23, 24. So like 27 years. And since it had grown in that much, I thought, well, let's just see what it looks like just for fun. And I'll probably get rid of it at the end of the year, give or take. But so I'm not really a beard guy, but anyway, so I apologize for that. I'm just dealing with this new, so fidgeting with it all the time. Anyway, I highlighted this because I rolled a 1 on the 0 rule, which is right here. So no movement allowance for Heath's Brigade. We didn't have to worry about the command phase because there's no, they're under the orders already. These guys can't be issued orders. There's no fluke stoppages during Recon and Force, so we'll just do these two. So basically, this whole line of guys can just basically fire. So what I think I'll do is we're going to start out. So we got this guy with a C with Cutler. And we got this guy with a B morale. They both have 150 men there. I think we can't move, so I think we're gonna blaze away at Cutler here and see if we can blast him and maybe get lucky and get a casualty because he's up front. Now, I've been mostly leading from the front with my leaders. This is the first, I played the intro scenario. This is the first time I've really played this game, so I guess I'll find out real quick if that's a real bad thing. So, okay, so let's get moving. Okay, combat. We're going to fire the 1st Tennessee at the 56th Pennsylvania. So we have a 5 factors, so we're in the 4 to 5 column. There is no shifts for range. They're rifles, so there's no firepower special things, and there's no target issues. We're not firing on the rear or anything. So it's just going to be a 4 to 5 column. So we need a 6 or better to do some damage. And we got a 3. All right, so this so far is starting out like the last Union fire phase. So not going so great. Let's see what we got here. We got a couple of really bad regiments. We got 50 guys in each that are left, that aren't wounded or dead or straggling. The good news is we get to fire without them firing back because we're not moving. So, wondering if, I'm not going to fire here because I'm already going to be on this column. I'm going to need an 8 or better. So I'm going to maximize and probably just shoot them both at this guy. I was trying to hope to see if I could get one of these guys to become wrecked, but that doesn't seem to be in the cards right now. So we'll fire the 14th Tennessee at the 14th Brooklyn. They are 1 strength point, so we start here. There's no that's one of the things I like about this system. I'm not saying that low modifiers are great if they're not accurate, but I think this does a pretty good job, and you don't have to go down a list of 20 things. So I do love that about it. So there's, what do they got? Make sure they don't have muskets. Oh, they do have muskets. Okay. So they are going to get a little bit of a bonus. So we're on the 1 column. There's no modifiers for range. But they do have buck and ball, which is at range 1, they get 1 shift to the right. So now we need a 7 or better. There's no other modifiers for the target, so we need a 7 or better. Oh, swing and a miss. We get a 6. So mark that fired. This guy's going to be the same thing, minus the muskets for buck and ball. So he's just going to be on the 1 column, so we need an 8 or better. Another 6. Okay. These guys are firing at a pretty good range. They're going to be firing at the Iron Brigade, so good luck having them have morale issues. But I think we're going to fire the 7th Tennessee right here at the 7th Wisconsin. So we're on the same slopes. I think they're fine. So 2, they're rifled. They're 3 hexes away, so it's 2 shifts to the left. It's going to be on the -A column, so we need a 10 or better. Now we get our 8, which would have been really nice to have earlier. So that's a nothing. I guess, this is one of the beauties of playing solo. You suck on both sides, right? So it doesn't really matter. All right, right here we'll fire at the same guy. Doesn't really matter. We'll fire at the 7th Wisconsin. Here we have the 2 to 3 strength points. Same as the other guy. It's rifled, so it's going to end up at the -A. I need a 10 or better. And we get another 6. So did nothing with that brigade. So this turn's going super-duper fast. Let's go ahead and look at Davis. So let's make his roll for being able to move and stuff. He gets a 4, which I think is full movement. Full movement, 4 to 6. Okay. So what does that mean we want to do? So these guys are kind of beat up, right? These guys are wrecked because they got the red number. Love that on Vassal, by the way, that you can put the number right on there. So I'm thinking these guys, because if you make a facing change at all, then they get to blast away at you. I got to look at the brigade command range is 6 hexes. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we can't get too swung out over here. I'm thinking I'm going to swing these guys out here and start trying to threaten this artillery, because our objective, remember, is this road right here. Well, there's a lot of stuff now on that road. We got a lot of artillery over there. I guess you're not supposed to be peeking, but you can only look at the top unit. I don't think leaders can block it, but I guess I didn't realize there was multiples there. Okay, well, let's start out with the basic stuff that we know. We're going to try to wreck Cutler's brigade here, the 56th Pennsylvania with the 55th North Carolina A. So basically you got these two here, 2 big units. So this is 1 big regiment. We're going to blast away here. We got rifled muskets. We're a 7. So we got full movement, so that's good, but we don't want to move. We're going to blaze away here, and I think maybe these guys will do the same thing. We'll take a look. But for sure, he's firing. So we're on the 6 to 8 column. No modifiers for range. There's no special things for canisters, breech loaders, retreater, bunker ball. There's no target issues. They're not firing on a rear or anything. So we're basically a 6 to 8 column. So we're going to need a 5 or better. Here we get an 8, which is going to be a casualty, right? That's going to wreck them, I think. So decrease embedded. Yep, so they're wrecked. We got to make a leader loss check. Basically anything but 11 or 12, and he's fine. We get an 8, so he's fine. Cutler's fine. But we have a morale check to take now on the C column. And let's... Cutler's a 2 morale, -2, so that's going to give us a -2. They're not shaken or disorganized. They are wrecked for +3, so now we're at a +1. It's not on the rear. They are small, but I thought small was... There's a note there. See note at the right. Requires each of the following: a shot containing small arms at range 1 or charge. Yep. So small is going to qualify this time, so that's a +2. There's no cowardly legs. It's not night. It's not artillery cavalry, and they're not behind stone walls or any of that. So it's going to be on the C column here with a +2. So a 6 or higher is going to cause us problems. Wowzer. Now we get the 11. So 11 with a +2 goes to 13. So they are going to rout, back 6, and lose 2. Okay, so yeah. Just trying to look. All right, he'll be able to. So even though he's going to lose all those, you still have to do the route and stuff, right? So they route. So where do you lower morale? Lower morale. Lower morale. Yep, big old route. So they route back 6, and then they'll lose 2. So you have to retreat before you lose the 2 steps, because if they had to go through, guys, that would cause problems. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So Cutler has to retreat with them, and then they're gone. So send them to the graveyard. I'm wondering, can't remember, it's one of those things, too many games type thing, when you check for morale, like if they routed. So I think I'm going to pause here, and I want to look up the rules. Let's just look real quick while we're online. I really don't like to edit. If this gets to be long, I'll look it up. But a stack only makes morale checks when called for by the combat table. The stack combat unit provides a morale rating. Yep. Use the modified blah. Yep. So it's only if they displace stuff. So there is no morale check for watching a friendly unit rout. So that was pretty effective by the 55th North Carolina. Now we're looking at this 55th North Carolina, and we have the 42nd Mississippi, part of them, with their second part coming around here. We could fire at this one with John Burns, but he gives a -2, but that's a C unit, or we could fire at this B unit. What I'm trying to decide is, do I want to move forward? Because then I'm going to take an opening volley. So let's go ahead and look at that chart. I'm not a big numbers guy. Like, I don't typically sit and go, okay, if I do this, this does this. If I do this, this does this. I kind of try to just go with my gut on it and be a little more like what I would do if I was in the situation. And I think, we're in the trees. If I move forward, they got a 50% chance of knocking me down to 5, which is a column shift, which I'm already getting now. So to me, it doesn't pay to really risk moving forward, and it's a 5 or a 6, So I'm going to shoot. So we're going to shoot with this North Carolina B, the 55th North Carolina B. So we're going to fire at the 147 New York. We are in the 6 to 8 column. We're going to be 1 shift for a range of 2 to the left. They're rifled, so there's no other modifiers, so we need a 6 or better. So it wouldn't have mattered if I'd have moved forward. I'd have missed them anyway. I don't know what it is of firing. Now, I do know a lot of people say the Vassal bi-roller stinks. They don't like it. It gets quirky. That's probably true. I don't know. Eventually, I'd like to get a setup where I got a dice tower and a camera on that. I can put that in the bottom left corner, and then I can just roll actual dice. I prefer that anyway. I like to roll dice. But for now, we're going to keep using the roller, because I don't want to roll off camera. And the way I'm set up, it's just filming me in the corner so you can see my face. I'm not just this voice. And, I don't have a camera pointing at a table. So, okay, I digress. Move on. So here we got the 42nd Mississippi. We're going to do the same thing, but they start in the 4 to 5 column. They're rifled, but it's range 1, so they move the 2 to 3, so we need a 7 or better. There we get an 8, so that's only a morale check, but we'll take it. They're a B morale, so let's go look at modifiers. Oh, and this is one I got to remember. I forget that a lot. And this is a main part of the game, right? The cowardly legs. So there's no leaders. They're not shaken, disorganized. They're not wrecked. It's not the rear. They're not small. There is a cowardly leg, so that's a +1. No knight, no nothing, no walls or anything. So it's the B column with a +1. So if an 8 or higher isn't good for them. It's a 7. That would be 1. So that'd put us right here at the 8. So we just missed it. Okay. Move. Oh, I should have left that open because terrain. So units in line, it's +1 for the terrain. Oh, that's some pretty slope stuff too. Although Davis never moves, so we probably should utilize this opportunity to move. So let's see if we can even get there. So that would be 2. And then this is a slope that adds 2. So it'd be 3, 4, 5. So that's the furthest we can get. I think we're going to do that here, right? So we're going to go 1. Oh, I'm sorry. This is only 1. This is +1. So that'd be 2, 3 to go here, 4, 5. And probably good with that facing, because then if for some reason this lasts a while and Union guys come, I'm not going to get flanked. We're supposed to keep attacking. I don't know how effective this guy would be. Maybe I'd move him up and then fire later. So this would be 1. Let's see. Where's the rotate? There we go. 1, 2, 3. I mean, if I'm right in front of them with a 2 to 3, that's a 7. Oh, you got to make a closing roll, though. So that's 3. I'll try to make my closing roll. I am a B, so it's a 3 plus. Oh, wait a minute. He's wrecked, though. It's probably not going to be good. No leader, not in the rear. Oh, when you're wrecked, you can't. I got to look at that. When you're wrecked, there's problems. Oh, no. Wrecked? I guess it's just these morale results are a problem. I thought there was something where you couldn't move next to an enemy if you're wrecked. All right, let me look that up. It's been a while. 3.5. If it gets too long, I'll pause her and look it up and then edit it. Closing rolls. Oh yeah, automatically fail if you're disorganized, wrecked. So we can't do that. I was wondering if they got anything on morale states. If I could even move up that far. So I guess we'll stay there. I'll check into that and see if they can move there. I think the only thing is you just can't move next to the enemy, which sounds reasonable. So these guys are next to the enemy because the enemy moved up to attack them, and you don't have to run away. But, yeah. Probably not the best thing with him there because they're just going to shoot him up and run him off. So, but we need to push the attack. So that's what we're doing. Okay, so that's going to be the... Oh, I forgot to mark them fired, but they fired. They moved. Everybody else has done their thing. There's no reason. I guess Davis will move up here to give me a little more command range. That's it for the Confederates. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He's good. You can go 8. And then he goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So now we can get out to here. Okay, so rally phase. So remove markers. We'll remove cowardly legs. CSA rally. And remove fired markers. Okay. That's it. Second player. So command phase. So we need to see if Reynolds, who is a 4, can issue an order. Because if he can, then I got to pause, send the file to the Union guy, and then he will decide if he wants to issue orders, and then I will continue on. So command roles. So 9 or less, no. 10 or more, yes. Leader command value is a 4. He's not deploying for move order or anything. So basically it's a 4. So I need a 6 or better. Get an 8. So Reynolds can issue an order. So I will stop here. Send the file to the Union commander so he can see any changes. It wasn't really much for change. I guess Cutler ran away. And I'll check on this too and see if Cutler had to run with him. Because he would have been pretty safe here with the cut. You know, nobody could have really got to him. These guys had already fired, so I probably would have left him there. It doesn't really matter. 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, this guy is out of command then right now. So I'll look that up and make sure he had to run, because if that's the truth, then he's out of command. So we'll have to see what that does. Haven't had that problem yet. Haven't had a guy retreat that far yet. So anyway, we'll send this off to the Union commander, and then we will continue the 11:30 turn, the Union. thanks for joining me. Okay, so we're ready to start the Union turn. It's been a few days. I was waiting for command orders from the Union commander, so I got those. And so we can continue with the Union turn at this point. So let's go ahead and take a look at sequence of play. We just finished up with the Confederates. They had an abysmal turn. So we'll see how it goes. The last two turns, actually, for the Union and the Confederates have been pretty abysmal. So we'll continue on here with this is the second half, the Union turn of 11:30 a.m. turn. So sequence of play. Command phase. All right, so we have orders. I do need to... Doubleday has received new orders, so I need to roll to see if he accepts those or not. So I need a 10 or more, and he gets a +2 for his leadership. So I'm going to need an 8 or better for him to accept those orders. And he does accept those orders. So I can't really give away too much in case the opponent watches any of the video. And I'm not saying he would do that to cheat or anything, but these guys like to watch what's going on too. So I'm just going to kind of scroll around at each command so that every leader has been shown to give an idea of who might be getting orders. Take me just a second here. So his whole command is basically Wadsworth, Meredith's Iron Brigade, Rowley's Brigade, and then I think Stone is still his. Okay, so all right, let's see here. So on the chart, his command range would be 12. Okay, so I know when it's going to get there. Okay, so I'll change those later because if I bring up that screen, let me write this down real quick. Because if I bring up that screen, it shows on that spreadsheet who the brigades or divisions or whatever is being ordered, right? So it's a divisional order, but it might just be specific brigades or whatnot. So. All right, so we got that down. There's no attack recovery to worry about. We do have to roll for fluke stoppage. So we got these guys right here. Fluke stoppage. Dice roll modifiers. -1 original division leader, no. Was not killed or wounded. +2 command has reserve, no reserve. -2 for the nighttime. You got to pass on a 6+. And I thought there is, so you don't use the leader modifier for that, so he passes. Okay, so we were rolling for Doubleday there. He's the only division that's got guys that are in attack, that are in March anyway. So activity phase, so movement and combat, so we'll go right to that per unit, and then we'll work on the rally phase. So again, this is interesting because for those of you watching, you might be like, well, how come these guys aren't swinging down into here and crashing into that? Well, first of all, they're not supposed to go past Willoughby Run. There's some restrictions there. Second of all, I am under orders. Remember, for those of you that maybe just jumped on in the middle here, I have two separate players. I have a Union commander and a Confederate commander, and they are issuing commands to me, and then I'm playing it solo, following their commands. So I'm not actually in charge of the orders and where troops are going. I'm just following those orders to the best of my ability. So let's zoom in one more level for the combat, because I think that gets that might be all right for this, because it's nice to get that overview. So I think what we'll do is we'll finish up Raleigh here. He's going to finish up and put his guy in. He'll have plenty of movement to pull this tail in here of his column and deploy into line. So he's deployed. Oh, I got to mark. Take off the move markers. Okay. Okay, so he's going to stay there. He's not doing anything else. This is the Iron Brigade here. I think what we'll do with the Iron Brigade is they're just going to return fire with the 2 units here. We will fire... We'll fire this one. We'll fire the 24th Michigan at the 13th Alabama first. So let's go over to combat. So the max you can fire out of a hex is 8. We have 10, so we got extra. So we're in the 6 to 8 column. We are 3 hexes away. So that's 2 column shifts to the left. That's a 2 to 3. There's no specialties. They're just rifled muskets. We're not firing on the rear. It's not considered protective terrain. Protective terrain is stone walls, rock ledges, sunken roads, trenches, boulders, and breastworks. So we're on the 2 to 3 column, so we need a 7 or better to do anything. And we're right back where we started for the firing. The last two, the last Union and the last Confederate firing was pretty abysmal. All right, so let's do the same thing. So the 7th Wisconsin's going to go ahead and fire. Now remember, they don't get any return fire unless you move. And we're just going to fire at them, so it's going to be the same. We're at 7, so we're the 6 to 8 column. We're going to shift 2, so we need a 7 or better. Well, there we get a 10, and that's going to be a strength loss. So we decrease the embedded strength. Now they are wrecked, which is going to be a big deal. So we go make a morale check. They are a C morale to start with. Here are our modifiers, okay? So there's no leader there. They're not shaken or disorganized, but they get +3 for being wrecked. Wasn't fired on the rear. The +1 for small is only, I think, if you're next to each other, if I remember right. Contains small arms at range 1 or a charge, so that doesn't matter. There's no cowardly legs on there. It's not night. It's not artillery or cavalry, and they're not behind any of these protective terrains, so it's just going to be the C column with a +3. The lower the better for morale for the person checking. A 7 is a 10. That's not going to be great. They're disorganized, back 3 and lose 1. All right, so you do it in that order, basically. You can disorganize them. So lower morale. You got to do that twice, sorry. Disorganized. Back 3. So we'll go 1, 2, 3. And then they lose another one at the end of that. So let's decrease that again. So they're down to just 50 guys. Now, we would put a cowardly legs here, which would have been nice if we could have another guy firing at him, and he'd have to make a check with that modifier. But we ran out of guy. I guess we still have... That's not the Iron Brigade, though. That's going to be Wadsworth. So the Iron Brigade is done. We're not going to move any of these guys, and so they're done. All right, let's do Wadsworth next, and then the rest of the phase is just going to be moving stuff. So Wadsworth, so here's the bummer. Like, if you make a facing change, like if I turn this guy to face, which I'm going to have to consider doing pretty soon, or I could be taking rear fire, then they get to return fire on him. I don't really like that. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to fire this way because he's just a replacement leader, so it's not like I could get a lucky leader kill on him. And I'd like to start collapsing this left flank more, so if I get orders, I could, do something with that. So, let's see. I'm sorry, I keep saying Wadsworth. That's Cutler's brigade. It's Wadsworth Division. Cutler had retreated with a unit, so he's going to want to be moving. But I think we'll wait with him because these three are not going to move. We're just going to fire, and fire and see what we can do. This one I'm debating if I want to make a shift to my right. These guys can't see anybody yet. When they do, it's going to be basically canister range. So we're hoping we can break the rest of this brigade so it just gives up. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. I think we're just going to shoot, and then I think I'm just going to shoot this way and see if we can do some damage, and then these guys will hold. Cutler will move back up and support his troops, and then we will start bringing up reinforcements. There were no reinforcements that came on the map, but we do have this big train of guys in column that are following orders. So, okay. Let's zoom back in. One more, I think. And let's go ahead and blaze away. Pretty basic. So charts, combat. All right, so we got 5 here. We're going to fire at the 5th Alabama with the 14th Brooklyn. We start out at the 4 to 5 column. There's no column shifts for range. There's no firepower issues, and there's no target issues. So we just need a 6 or better to do something. And we do get a 6, which is not great, but it's a morale check, and they are already wrecked. So they are a B morale, so they do start here. The only modifier, we will have small now because it is at range 1. So we got wrecked for +3, small for +1. There's no other modifiers that help. I think the leader has to be stacked in the hex for that to apply. Yeah. So +4. A 5 is a 9. It's going to be shaken and back 1. So they're going to decrease lower morale. And then they got to go back 1, so they'll go back here into these trees here. All right, and he fired. So that's the end of that. So we're kind of hoping just to wipe them guys out, but whatever. Right here we only got 3. So we start out in the 2 to 3 column. We're not going to change facing or move. We do have this guy here, but then, I don't know. If we take another loss, I think we're wrecked anyway. So let's just fire and hope that doesn't open a big hole over here. Because, they're starting to push the attack pretty good. All right, so 3. There's no modifiers for range. There's no modifiers for firepower or target. So we just need a 7 or better to cause a problem. We do get an 8, which will be a morale check. They are a B, and they don't really have any problems, so it should be straight up. No leader, no shaken, disorganized, wrecked, rear, small, nothing. So basically a B. They roll a 2. Ooh, that's going to bloodlust those guys. They are bloodlusted, which is not good for the Union Center here now. The only time you do the bloodlusted is, I think, if you're at range 1. Yeah, only check if stack is adjacent to the unit that fired or charged it, and you can't use leader modifiers. So it's not easy to get, but they did get it. So that's gonna cause a problem, I think, next turn. So the 147th New York. Now they're wondering if they need to maybe turn to the left. We're just going to fire. We're not going to make any turn and take any fire. We need to hopefully get lucky and start causing some problems. So we got 6, so we're at the max column. There's no modifiers for range, no firepower issues because they're all rifled muskets. and there's no target issues, so we just need a 5 or better. We got a 7. What did I say we were at? We're at 6. Okay, so that is a hit for a loss. I thought it was the morale check. It was on the wrong column. So he did lose one guy, but he is another B morale, and there's no issues, right? He's not shaken, disorganized, wrecked. There's no cowardly legs or anything, so it's a straight up roll on the B column. And a 6 should be safe, so right here, so we're safe on that. So we did some damage, but we didn't strip them away. Okay, we're going to fire here. I don't know why I closed that. We're going to fire from here to here. It's 6. But, so let's see where we're at here. So we're on the 6 to 8 column, but we're 2 hexes away, so it's going to shift to the 4 to 5. There is no other modifiers. There's no firepower modifiers. I'm pretty sure these are all rifles. Yep, they're all rifles. So it's the 4 to 5 column, so we need a 6 or better to do anything. Whoa, we get an 11. So we need a good break like that. 4 to 5 and 11 is 2. So these guys drop 2. Let me make sure I'm doing that right. We got an 11. We were on the 6 to 8. We shifted 1, and we dropped 2. That's a 2. So decrease and decrease. Oh, I didn't know. I wasn't looking at this number. I was wondering how close they were to get wrecked. That would have been good for the Union because they're probably going to get wrecked here in the middle. Oops, I should mark these guys too. It's just a good habit. It's not a big deal right now. We don't have that much combat going on, but when the map is full, we're going to have that stuff to keep track of. Okay, so they got to make a morale check on the C column. No leader stuff. They're not wrecked. Close, but no cigar. So no cowardly legs or nothing. So it's just a straight up C roll. A 5 should be golden, so they're good. So they didn't run off, but they're getting whittled down now. We got these 2 guys. The next strength point they lose, they're going to be wrecked. Been a little debate online if I should still be pushing the attack. The way I see it, my orders are to try to take this road if I can and hold it. I'm getting to the pretty close to the point where we'll call it off. I think we still have a chance to maybe get lucky here and do some damage. We still got some big units here. If we could do some firing, big unit here. Once these guys get whittled down, then it's over. So we still can move Cutler. I think it's 12 movement. I haven't done that for a while. Leaders are 12, so he's just going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and he does not trigger a. Oops. Counterclockwise. I don't think leaders have to make a closing roll to move to a unit that's next to somebody. So we'll put them there because they are going to need all the help they can get on this bloodlust because I'm pretty sure they'll melee. Let's take a look at what else we got here. Now, we got a nice thing of artillery, but it's all up on this ridge, so anything coming this way would be in trouble. We got a little Calip's battery still holding out here with his HQ. I'm going to turn this just for aesthetics. We got Doubleday camped out here with his core HQ. We got Howard here. These guys are not moving. These guys are not moving. They've been firing from the ridge. Okay, so let me go down. And I should have looked that up beforehand, but I want to double check Robinson's orders to make sure I don't move past anything or anything silly. Okay, I just need to check because Robinson's division can use the double quick rule, and there's some restrictions, so I had to look up the hex numbers. You can't start going off the road until you hit this hex here. And I want to make sure he could use the double quick or not. Let's see, with his orders, I think we are going to I think we're going to do that. So, okay, so let's go ahead. I'm just going to move this head column. So when you move the double quick, you move double your movement in hexes. So if they are in column, they move 8, so they can move 16 hexes, basically. And I have to go to here first. So let's go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Okay. And then I'm going to, I got a little bit of a log jam here, so let me grab these guys first. And they're not there. These guys would be, basically kind of like this is what we'll say. They went like that. Let's see, some of these might be easier just to grab one. And see if I'm smart enough. Oh, we missed one guy. Okay, we'll just grab him quick. Throw him there. And then now we should be able to grab all these and move the rest of this up to here. And then just back on the road. Stone. Kind of getting stonewalled there. No pun intended, of course, for the stonewall. All right, so let's just move these up. Be easier just to grab one at a time. So he basically jumps into the rear of the column there to follow his orders. And then we got these guys here. Yeah. So they're basically, I could technically get up to here, but with all this in the way, they're going to get log jam right there as well, because they can move. Oh, wait a minute. I think it's to here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, 9, 10, 11, 12. Each one of these is moving down the road. It represents 8 movement points in column. That is a big column. So we're going to grab that whole column. And we're just going to move it up to here. And then we'll zoom in so we can work on it. And we'll just get everybody back on the road because that's where they would be. Chugging up the road. So not a lot on this Union move. The stuff is starting to come in. I want to take an overview here of the whole thing once we... couple at the end there. Okay. Let's make sure I didn't miss anybody. Okay. No other reinforcements are coming on. So this is the furthest I've gotten into a line of battle game. I'm jacked up about it. It's fun. We're getting a little bit of a log jam here if we zoom way out. I can use this overview. You guys probably can't see it, but it kind of gives you an overview. You still can't see the whole map. It's a good sized map. So this is 11th Corps stuff coming up. Looks like third division. I'm still learning that stuff. Yeah, this 2nd Brigade, 3rd Division. This 1st Brigade, 3rd Division. It's only 2 brigades. Oh, I suppose they're coming up in road. We got the rest of 1st Corps right here, coming up this road to get up here. We got, so we're doing the, how come that's not, so we're doing the deal where all those Confederates are sitting there waiting for their orders. They're in the Recon and Force, which only allows these 2 brigades to attack. I was saying at the beginning of this turn that it was probably a failed attack, but we have a little bit of a chance here to wreak some havoc. The bad news is we got full brigades here, and we got artillery that can turn to face. They'd really just have to get to this hex to make an objective, and they're close, but they still have some stuff to do. So I think we'll wrap it. Oh, let's do this. I got to go through. I get ahead of myself. All right. So then we do the rally phase. We'll take off the move markers. We will remove fired markers. We don't have any counter battery fire, and USA units are allowed to rally. I don't think anybody had to, but that is a nifty feature there. No loss recovery, so that would be the end of the 11:30 turn. If you got any thoughts, feel free to let me know. Again, this is a little different game, so if you're watching for the first time, these guys are all under orders, right? And I'm following the orders from 2 different players, one in the north, one for the south, and I have to follow their orders. So if this is any other game, the Iron Brigade would be slamming into this right now, but they don't have orders for that. So it is what it is. So following orders so I don't get court-martialed. And we got more Union guys pouring up here. We'll see what happens. The Confederate player doesn't really get to give any orders until Lee comes on the board. So once he comes on the board, we'll get, and the Recon and Force is done, this is really going to get interesting. So thanks for hanging in there with me as the battle for Her Ridge continues. And we will we'll see it here coming up. It's the 11:45 turn on the next video. Thanks for joining me.